Okay, welcome, Joel. Here we go. It's just you and me, so I think great opportunity for a little bit of one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Unless you have a specific thing that you'd like to get out of the meeting, what I was going to do is take this through a skills fund matrix and get you thinking about where your value is in the business. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, I mean, time management isn't necessarily my strongest area. So I saw you put something out there, so I thought, well, would be a good thing to go along to, just to give you a bit of a background as to why I took an interest in jumping on this today. And it's good to benefit from your knowledge and experience. So yeah, back over to you, Tom.
Okay, perfect. So have you ever done a time audit of where you're spending your time?
I would have done something like that before. I've got somebody else joining us now. I don't know whether you wanted to wait, Tom, or we'll just carry on talking. So yeah, I have done something like that loosely in the past, but not for a while, to be honest. So
okay, so coming out on the back of this session, can I suggest that you do a time audit? So you record for a week or two where your time's, where it's being spent, and I think you'll find that's interesting. I think you'll find that there are things going on that you didn't recognise when you actually write it all down, and then start to examine that and start to put it in 4 boxes of important, not important, urgent, not urgent. So if you put that in a 2 matrix.
So important, not important, urgent, non-urgent.
Yeah, urgent, non-urgent. So if we, if we can get that into a 2 by 2 matrix, so we're thinking about, okay, what is urgent and important? What is important and not urgent?
Yeah.
Okay. What's not important and urgent? Really? How come it's not important but it's urgent? Who are we kidding? We're kidding ourselves. And what's not important and not urgent? Well, it's just a distraction. Why are we allowing it to distract us? So have a think about your time there and what you're doing there, but basically get the log and think, what am I doing here? And then what I challenge you to do is I challenge you to think about all of the time that you're spending. So when you've got the time log, we might say, okay, what are the key things that you're doing in your business? So just run with me on this. What do you spend a lot of time doing in your business?
Yeah, so I can answer that question. So an urgent but not important thing to me would be a client needing to get a job advert live quickly, and some of my team are busy on other things. So I've got to stop what I'm doing, which could be planning out my next course or whatever that might be, to then start frantically trying to get job adverts on the system late on Friday night. So that would be something that would be urgent, but not necessarily. It is, I guess it is important, but yeah. So that would be something.
Think about that client servicing bit. That where does that fit? How would you describe that? Just as a task.
It would be admin.
Admin.
If that's what you mean. If that's your question.
What's the skill level involved in that?
Relatively low.
Okay. How much fun is it for you?
Not a lot.
Right. Okay. So we've got that admin task, and how many hours a week would it occupy?
It depends on obviously how busy we are, but it would not a huge amount, but could be maybe up to 5 hours.
Okay. All right.
Up to 5 hours.
5 hours. Okay. So I put that in a low box. Okay. What else is occupying your week?
Probably helping my team with things. So perhaps things that one particular member isn't perhaps as confident as they could be. So they come to me and ask me questions on things. So I find myself perhaps getting a little bit too involved in it. And then on some occasions just dealing with it when perhaps I shouldn't be dealing with that. Sometimes small tasks might come in, and rather than passing that across, I think, well, it's only a 5-minute job, I may as well just get it done myself. And sometimes those things can add up a little bit when you're busy.
Okay. All right. So what would you kind of put those into?
Low skill stuff.
So
Some things are, some things aren't, but yeah. But
if
customer service, administration, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So okay. So it's kind of, team management, moderate tasks, and again, we're in the low type area, low fun, low skill, team support, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. How many hours is going on down there?
Maybe 10 hours.
Okay. What else have we got going on?
I just play golf and relax most of it. No. Again, dealing with customer inquiries, so inbound sales inquiries.
Okay.
And that probably takes up, I would say, maybe another 10 to 15 hours. Broadly speaking, this is a bit of an estimate, but 10 to 15 hours a week.
Skill level of that?
Sort of middle level, because obviously there's having discussion with the client, exploring opportunities to, deciding what solution suits them best, and then, helping them with that. So kind of mid-level, I would say. A competent salesperson to deal with that. I quite enjoy it, actually. I quite enjoy doing that type of thing. It isn't necessarily what I should be doing all the time, but yeah.
Sales inquiries, so 10 to 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
Okay. What else is going on in your week?
Planning. So planning weeks and sort of business plan, that type of stuff. I'm probably only spending maybe an hour a week, 2 hours a week on that kind of thing. Okay. Self-development, probably not doing anywhere near enough of that.
Yeah. Stay on planning and business planning. How much skill involved in it, would you say?
I would say that was a higher skill, because you've got to kind of be knowing where you want the business to be going, which direction. So it's not something you could outsource. It's something you'd have to do yourself. So yeah, mid to high level, I'd say.
And how much fun? How much do you enjoy it?
I quite enjoy it. It's quite satisfying when it's done. It's one of those things that you don't want to start, but once you get going, I guess it's quite enjoyable. It's quite a lot of quite a lot of satisfaction in it, I'd say. Okay,
so planning, and that is like both. That is like strategic and sort of week to week business planning. Yeah. And couple of hours, something like that. Yeah. And then self-development, you say? Nowhere near enough. Not a lot, really. maybe an hour a week. Partly because I'm more of a visual person. I don't like reading very much. I tend to read and not take in what I'm reading. But I could probably do podcasts, and I drive in the car at least 40 minutes a day, so I should probably do stuff like that. But it's just one of those things. You think, yeah, I must do that, and don't. So it's kind of important in the whole thing of things, but not a lot of fun for you. Yeah, very important, but yeah, I'd say I enjoy it once I start, but it's just making yourself do it. Yeah, an hour to 2 a week. Okay. Yeah. Tops. All right. What else is going on? Anything in marketing? That's partly why I'm here now as well. What else is going on? There is other elements of admin that I would have to deal with sometimes when we're busy. There's quite a lot of elements to what we do, so I can't think of it all
off the top of my head. I think that covers a lot of my week. That must add up to roughly 40 hours, hopefully, by now.
Sort of in this middle zone of general admin-y.
Bits and bobs, yeah.
Okay, so if I put, general management, 10 hours a week, something like that.
Yeah.
I'd urge you to have when you've done your time audit, I'd urge you to have a serious look at this and actually put it in these boxes. Low, medium, high, fun. We've got low, medium, high skill.
Mm.
And then when you have a look at this, I'll then say, well, okay, let's sort of think about it. Because actually, if we put a line there, most of this stuff down here, we could probably source for less than £15 an hour. Fair enough?
Mm. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Don't particularly enjoy it.
Mm.
Okay, and if we put the line across there, most of the stuff in between we could probably source for 15 to certainly less than 25
20, yeah.
And this is kind of, if you like, this is like the manager zone stroke highly technical person zone, and this is like the admin zone. But you as a business owner, in terms of your business, you kind of need to be operating in this zone.
Yeah.
Now, if your business is running absolutely perfectly, hunky-dory, in your dreams, how much money would you like to be making?
Over 100.
Yeah. I would always say, when you're answering that question, let's go big. And how many hours would you like to be working?
I don't know, 30, 35 would be nice. Maybe that's a bit too low, but that would be nice.
So if we said £150,000 a year and 1,500 hours a year,
yeah,
it's one of my favourite go-to numbers on this model. That gives us £100 an hour. Okay, so if we start to think about ourselves as £100 an hour,
yeah,
as a business owner,
would you be paying somebody £100 an hour to do an invoice?
Would you pay somebody £100 an hour to do this?
No.
Okay, it's interesting, that isn't it? Would you pay somebody £20 an hour? If somebody who you could pay £20, would you pay them £100 an hour to do this?
No.
So your value in your business is probably up here, involved in marketing, sales, training, planning. That's your leverage stuff, isn't it?
Mm.
And all of this stuff, if you bring in the business, build a team, leverage off other people, and start to think about yourself as £100 an hour person, and then ask yourself the question, why am I doing this?
Mm. Yeah, was that a rhetorical question, Tom, or were you waiting for my answer? You just give me time to think about it.
I just like silence because it means you're thinking.
I thought so, but I thought I'd double check.
Has that landed as a point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, I think sometimes, as you know, someone running a business, you don't, because of peaks and troughs, that's one of the problems. So, right, you might be busy and great, let's get somebody in to do that. But then if you don't have the work, then there's always that sort of chicken and egg scenario, which I'm dealing with people recruiting all the time. So it's something I'm privy to with business owners who are saying, we need this person, but we don't need them yet, but we do need them. So I'm having that conversation at that other end, but I'm still victim of the same challenges. I think sometimes it's just being confident with it and making sure that you've got the projections in place, and you know where you're heading towards. But put like that, it's when you put it like that and you work out essentially what you're paying yourself almost to do, potentially, it's really interesting.
It's an interesting look at it, and part of the problem is we allow ourselves to do this because business feels like it's gone a bit quiet. That starts sucking up our time, and we stop doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're finishing up in a spiral. Really, we're spiraling ourselves because we're not, we're busy doing low value tasks rather than focusing on the higher value task of getting out and doing the marketing and doing the selling and bringing the business in, which will then keep the team busy that we can leverage off the back of.
Yeah.
Now, we can't just jump from here to there, but what we can do is we can sit and think about, okay, how do we plan our week? Have you come across a default diary?
Yeah, I do use that to some extent, but yeah, I haven't done so much recently, just because we've been doing a lot of other things and I've just kind of neglected it a little bit. But I have used it in the past and that has worked well for me.
So starting to use that default diary and think about, okay, how many hours a week do I need to spend on marketing? And then, carve that time out to spend on marketing and strip it out of this and train the team to do this.
Okay.
If I may, you said something really interesting earlier about solving problems for the team that sometimes they should be solving for themselves because it's quicker to do so. And for me, I see this a lot with all of my clients, and I call it dad syndrome or mum syndrome, depending on who I'm talking to. When we're the business owner, we kind of feel like, it's our family, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so we take too much on our own shoulders. And one of the things I would always encourage anybody to do is stop solving their team's problems. Because every time somebody comes to you with a problem, you give them the solution, you've just taken that problem off them, and they're just giving the next one back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when people, come in with a problem, Joel, I've got this problem. All right, okay, that's interesting. What can you do about that? Is question number one. And take them through a very simple model. For us, it's a simplified version of what we call the GROW model. And I would say to them, okay, that's interesting. Tell me a bit more about that. Okay, what are we trying to do here? Right, okay, what are your options? And I don't know. Okay, so what do you think you can do? What's a step forward that you could take here? And you go through option one. Okay, what's good about that? What's bad about that? Okay, is there another option? What could we do? Okay, what's good about that? What's bad about that? Is there a third option? Maybe, if there is, same process. Is doing nothing an option? Normally, no. So you've been through that, you've taken them through that process. They've done all the thinking, they've done all the talking around that, you've just asked the questions.
Yeah.
That point you can sum up, right, okay, you've got option A, what's good about it is this, what's bad about it is that, there's a bit of a risk there, can we mitigate that? You've got option B, what's good about it, what's bad about it, maybe option C. Okay, great. What are you going to do? I don't know, Joel, what do you think I should do? Well, I don't know, it's your problem. We've been through the options. This is good about option A and bad about it. This is good about option B, bad about it. What do you reckon? It's your problem. What are you going to do? Well, I think I should do this, Joel. Do you think that's the right thing? I don't know. Sounds like you're making the decision. It's a long process. It takes more time initially.
Yeah.
what happens a few times into it, a few weeks or a few months later, is they're coming in and saying, Joel, we've got this problem, and we can either do A,
X, Y, or Z, yeah.
Yeah, or B, and this is a good bit, and you just say, all right, okay, that sounds good. Which one are you going to do? Have you thought about this? Which one are you going to do? Then they'll start coming back and say, oh, Joel, this, I've got this, and there's A and there's B, and I'm going to do B. Great. Have you thought about C? Oh, no, I haven't. Okay, just think about that. Tell me what's good or bad about that. Is it better? Is it worse? No, I'm still like B. Right, okay, great. See you. Let me know how you get on. Joel, this happened today. You weren't around, and I decided to do that. Did you think about that? Yeah, I did. Okay, how did it turn out? Yeah, it was fine. We had a bit of a problem with that, but I solved it.
Mm.
And all through that process, what you're doing is you are passing ownership of the problem solving to them. And if you give them ownership of the problem solving, when it does start to go wrong, they don't come to you and say, Joel, you know, you told me to do that. It hasn't worked.
Mm.
They solve the problem themselves.
Mm.
So initially, it takes a lot more time and effort.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is you're training your team to solve problems, and they grow.
Yeah.
And as they grow, they'll feel more confident. They'll feel better about themselves, and they'll be prepared to
Or
take
inspired to get on and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Then you're spending more time in that top curve there as well. So.
Well, that, you know, it's a bit. It takes a little bit of a.
Yeah.
But it's about progressing against this, you know, across this. Mm. And if you've got team, then another way to be thinking about this is if we've got the goals box up here, Joel's skills fund matrix here, okay, and then we've got your manager's skill fund matrix here, something like that. You know, and then you might have your administrator's matrix down here. Okay. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get Joel working in that space. Yeah. Manager working in this space. Administrator working in that space, and an apprentice or the cheapest possible solution working in that space. And then we're getting the best satisfaction and the best value out of every team member.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Very good.
But obviously we can't go out and create this tomorrow. We've just got these steps to take. And for me, part of the way of starting to take these steps is to get in control of our default diary. Right, okay, I've only been doing 2 hours a week marketing. Well, I need to be doing 5, or I need to be doing 7. Okay, so what am I going to lose here? Make sure the team does.
Yeah. Yeah, so get that default diary blocked out, so you know you're spending a minimum, you know you're committed each day or week to that amount of hours.
Mm.
The worst case scenario, you know you're going to do that much of what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And then gradually just migrate.
Yeah. But I think, you know, start with the time log. Log your time for a week or two. and then sit down and have a look at that, and then beat yourself up.
See where it fits. Yeah, perfect.
You probably won't find it very hard to beat yourself up on it.
No. Well, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Tom. Yeah, thank you, and I will put it on our group, and let everybody know that we had a good session, and hope to